Hello once again, Niner Faithful, and welcome back to another episode of 49ers Playbook on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. What a Thanksgiving it was to see the 49ers beat the Seahawks in Seattle and feast on some turkey legs at Lumen Field. The game did get a little tight in the third quarter, but looking over the film, it was pretty clear that San Francisco had the advantage on both sides of the ball. On defense, they were able to stifle the Seahawks, who were only able to manage 6 offensive points even after giving up a huge kickoff return on their first drive. On offense, they faced a feisty defense with a number of veterans and young talent mixed with a very experienced coaching staff with a good plan. In the end, the talent from San Francisco and some incredibly high-level play from Brock Purdy lifted the 49ers, who were able to put up over 30 points once again. Overall, it was so great to see the 49ers feast on the Seahawks field. And you can up your feasting game if you head over to our affiliate, whiteoakpastures.com/JD49, and shop from a number of high-quality, sustainably raised and healthier protein options. From grass-fed, grass-finished beef, which is higher in healthy fats and antioxidants, never physically altered, pasture-raised, and processed and frozen at the farm at a USDA-inspected facility, you can also check out some of their heritage pork products, like their sugar-free breakfast sausage. Their pork is pasture-raised and forage-fed, is higher in healthy fats and antioxidants like vitamin E, and is one of the best sources of vitamin D on the planet. It's not only great tasting, it's great for you and the environment. If you go to whiteoakpastures.com/JD49, you can use coupon code JD49 to get $20 off your first order of $150 or more. It comes to you via 2-day shipping in a cooler, frozen, and packed in dry ice. Radically traditional farming. You're watching Johnny Dale's Football Academy. Right from the opening drive, Brock Purdy was showing he was on his game and why he really does need to start being in the conversation among the best young signal callers in the game. So this is the opening play of the game. We come out in 21 personnel with 2 backs and 1 tight end. And we first motion juice across. With no one traveling, it reveals zone coverage. We're running a variation on a smash concept with Debo and Kittle. Now, I'll let this play through because some people have asked, and yes, there are some plays where I really don't like the effort from Debo on his routes. He's running a corner route, and it's like when he realized he won't get the ball because of the coverage, he just doesn't run it hard. But this play can work against this defense, so we'll bring it back. The Seahawks are showing 2 zone pre-snap, and so Purdy will look to work the smash, which will put the cloud defender in a vertical stretch. But there's a caveat. With the condensed formation, if the Seahawks run cover 3 zone, Jamal Adams would be the flat defender, so Debo's route can work as interference to spring Kittle open in the flat. On the other side, you have a sucker concept, or what Kyle calls pull shallow, which is a basic route paired with a short curl route. At the snap, the Seahawks are rotating into cover 3 zone, and Adams did a good job maneuvering the interference. So Purdy first looks to Kittle, sees it's covered, and moves on, and works the high-low with Ayuk, where the buzz safety is sitting, and checks it down to McCaffrey, who's able to get good yards after the catch. But it can seem like a simple check down, but this is a full field read working from one concept to another, getting to his 4th read on the play on time. I've had people comment on plays like this and say, well, that's not really impressive. And I laugh a little bit because they just don't know. This is not nearly as common as you'd think to see a guy on the very first play of the game work through his progressions like this against a disguised defense, dealing with a low snap on time. Just high-level stuff while getting pressured on the play. Then a few plays later, again, these checkdowns seem so simple, but Purdy isn't just going one, not there, check down. The Seahawks are again showing 2 high zone, and we're running a bench concept with an arches or short post concept. This time, Purdy is going to look for the post-snap rotation early. Again, it's a low snap, and the Seahawks are coming with a fire zone blitz. They've taken away the middle of the field, so Purdy, knowing the pressure is coming, slides away from the pressure and gets it to the check down on a blind throw. Stuff like this just doesn't get enough credit. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that this is a sack. Then he gets the team in the right play. So we come out in a balanced set, and this is where Kyle has 2 run plays called in. Once Purdy sees the safety walking down, he cans the play, and it's to a split zone. The split zone works as a counter to your wide zone, whereas now the line will look to sell the reach blocks, the block down, you'll bring a blocker across to kick out the end man, and the running back will work inside out. You can see how the action gets the defense to over pursue, and you have a huge lane right up the gut, and McCaffrey gets a big gain on the play. Then we get a touchdown with Debo on just a masterclass in play design. First, we split McCaffrey out wide for a coverage check, then bring him back in tight to a U-back spot. From here, Shanahan has won if things are executed correctly. Because the strength of the formation is on the short side of the field, the Seahawks are rolling coverage to the short side to make sure they have 4 over 3. So we're going to run it to the weak side on the wide side of the field. You'll have blocks from Jennings and Kittle to occupy the outside force defenders. Banks and Williams double down on the 3 technique. Pull Feliciano around on the end man, and you'll bring McCaffrey across with Debo's handoff to sell a shovel pass. So your only defender in a position to stop this run, Wagner, is put in conflict. Also, a guy who's not as fast as he used to be, having to try and run the wide side of the field with Debo Samuel. Masterclass in play design as you see Wagner get held up just a step by the shovel pass action, and it's a walk-in touchdown for Debo. So on the ensuing kickoff, we give up a huge return, and I don't hardly ever show special teams plays, but I wanted to take a look at this. We have a breakdown in lane coverage. The Seahawks are doubling up. In the old days, this was a wedge where they'd get 3 guys hand in hand to drive a wedge in the middle, and the kickoff team would have a wedge buster. A guy whose job was to run as fast as he could down and get as big of a hit as he could on that wedge to bust it up. They outlawed that for safety reasons, but when a team forms a wedge, that's their return point, and someone has to replace that lane. We get 2 guys stacking too close and not squeezing the return lane, and thankfully Darrell Luter has some wheels and makes a tackle before the kickoff goes all the way back. But we hold the Seahawks to only 1 yard on the possession and a field goal, and I want to highlight Deommodore Lenoir and the physicality and coverage he's brought to the slot position. With the Seahawks coming out with 3 receivers and bunching them on the wide side, we counter with man coverage. The Seahawks are trying to run an interference play for Smith and Jigba, where Lockett will run interference on a quick out. Then DK will be on an out route. Lenoir does a great job of getting physical with Lockett at the line, and you'll see how it disrupts the interference and jams at the play. That's where Geno wanted to go with the ball on his back foot, and he's just a tad late getting the ball out to DK, and that's the difference in a catch and Mooney Ward having time to drive on the throw. The next drive on offense doesn't net points, but I want to show this play because it's so stinking good from Brock Purdy. So this will look familiar, mainly because Seattle plays so much zone, and so we run a lot of the same zone busting concepts where you'll have a zone beater versus some zones on one side and an answer against others on the other. It's up to the quarterback to pick the right concept versus the right defense. Here the Seahawks are showing cover 3 zone pre-snap. We have an arches concept to one side and a smash swirl concept to the other. Where a smash concept normally would have a flat route paired with a corner route, here it's a swirl route, which will break like a corner route and sit down. Some systems, like the one I learned first, might call this a stop 7. Right at the snap, the Seahawks are coming with a creeper blitz, which is something you'll be familiar with if you've watched the channel. It's where you bring a second level defender on a rush while only rushing 4. They're also rotating into Tampa 2 zone. Arches can still work against Tampa if the mic drops deep enough. You'll have a horizontal stretch on the hook defender, but Wagner sits and Purdy sees it and moves to the smash concept. What makes this such a great play is the elite level anticipation he has on this throw. He's just on time. But Purdy sees the corner widen and he's got his hand off the ball when Debo is still 3 yards from his breakoff point. Debo turns around and the ball is right there, and he's able to get yards after the catch. I've said it before, but when people say yak isn't a quarterback stat, on plays like this, it is. This is top shelf quarterback play. Disguise coverage, creeper blitz, gets to the right read, impeccable anticipation on the throw, on the money down the field with pressure right in his face. You will not see better quarterback play than this right here. Then back on offense after a horrible 3-and-out by the Seahawks, we score another touchdown spearheaded by the run game. This is, again, great play design and how Kyle Shanahan makes everything tie into everything. If you've been watching the channel for a while, there's certain things you see each and every game. With the 49ers though, you see how so much of what they do ties into everything and makes things so hard to stop. Here they're running just a counter play, but they add in jet sweep motion, which we've all seen Debo take to the house, so the defense has to respect it. And you get them moving one way, then come back the other with Christian McCaffrey. You'll see how the motion affects Bobby Wagner in particular. You get him to take just a few steps the wrong way, and that's going to be enough for Kittle to get up on him. Then McCaffrey is just, well, McCaffrey, and it's a gain of 16 yards to start the drive. Then I couldn't not highlight this play from Jennings. We start out with McCaffrey out wide, and with a safety on him, this reveals man coverage with a blitz, otherwise you'd have a linebacker on him. So Purdy knows he's going to Jennings, where we have Ayuk on a protection release fade and Jennings on a stick route. Seattle plays this well, but Jennings just would not be denied for the first down. Then McCaffrey gets into the score. I love it because he literally runs through a guy to score. He's been so much tougher and physical as a runner than I'd even thought he'd be coming over in the trade. Then back on defense, we get an interception on a real nice play by Ambry Thomas. What I love about this pick is Thomas is showing some real positive signs here. What the 49ers have tasked their corners with for a while now is reading the receiver to the quarterback. He's in a bail technique but widens to maintain a view through Lockett to the quarterback so that he can read how deep the drop is, when the back foot hits, and the angle of the quarterback's shoulders. He does a fantastic job there of reading that to jump on the throw, mixed with some real nice footwork, and comes up with the pick. After the offense failed to capitalize, we'll be able to highlight the stout run defense. Seattle was just never able to establish a run game. So as I've talked about on previous episodes, we play a gap scheme with each man responsible for one gap. This is a great call by Steve Wilks, knowing the Seahawks are going to be running it and most likely a zone run. We're going to have Warner and Kinlaw run a gap exchange. This messes up the run blocking rules. They want to get up on Warner with the backside guard, and the way the rules work on Kinlaw, if he goes outside, the left guard will drive him out. If he works inside, the center is to execute a reach block, with the guard moving to the second level. With a gap exchange, he's really the backside guard's man, so he's now occupying the center and guard with no one accounting for Warner, who's got the play side A gap, and he slips through for a tackle for no gain. Back on offense, we get another scoring drive going with a chunk gain through the air. This is our drift concept, something we run a ton of, where you're going to run a little run action fake, then hit this drift route over the middle. I did have one comment on my last video that made a good point. Sometimes with using the technical names of the routes, it could be confusing for someone who's not familiar with any of it, so I am working on a video going through the route trees, so you can be familiar with the Shanahan routes, something I'll have as a bonus content for our Patreon members and our upcoming JFA members website. Those direct support members are so essential to making content like this possible. Thank you so much to our direct supporters. Consider joining them if you can. But a drift route is 7 steps and break in, work to space. The Seahawks are in Tampa 2 here, and it's just good work by Purdy and Ayuk, settling down in the first window, not running him into a big hit by Bobby Wagner, and just casually gaining 22 yards. Then we get a first down on 3rd and 9 with just another strong play from Purdy. We first bring Jennings in motion, and with Witherspoon traveling, it reveals man coverage. Right here, Purdy knows he's got Kittle on Jamal Adams on a curl route at the sticks. This is just, again, top shelf, grade, AAA, whatever you want to call it. He first holds the safety with his eyes to the left, then hits his back foot, and again, throwing before the receiver breaks. When Purdy is in his windup, Adams is all over Kittle. He's throwing to a landmark where he knows Kittle will be. Adams' back is turned, so he's putting the ball on time to his guy when Adams runs by. Just impeccable timing. The rhythm that this passing game is operating with is everything I love seeing from a quarterback. If he doesn't throw this ball as early as he does, this isn't a first down. Then another 3rd down, 3rd and 6, another high level play. So the Seahawks are showing a heavy pressure look pre-snap. Right before the snap, they'll back out and you'll see the DN fake a rush, then drop into hook zone, and they're in Tampa 2 zone. If we take it back, we have a smash concept outside, then we'll run Ayuk on a clearing route and have Debo on a short in route. The Seahawks get pressure off the edge, so Purdy's going to feel it and look to climb. But he's always keeping his eyes downfield. He doesn't just look to take off, he keeps his eyes downfield, sees Ayuk has cleared out the mic, and gets the ball to Debo. This is not normal. We then punch it in with another physical run by McCaffrey. The Seahawks defend this wide zone pretty well, but there are just times when you really appreciate how special it is to see a talent like McCaffrey on this team. Back on defense, we're able to get Seattle off the field with a sack, and continuing from last week, we're seeing the marriage of good coverage and good pass rush. I'll first talk about the coverage. So we're running a Fangio staple here. This is 4 tricks. What does that mean? It's cover 4, but you can see with the motion Fred Warner in the back end checking. This is a check to tricks. That's where you man up the 2 receiver side. When there's a running back in the backfield, and your weak side safety, in this case Jair Brown, will read the number 3 to number 2 for any crossing routes. The quarters coverage first takes away Metcalf, as you'll end up with 2 over 1. Then Geno wants to work to lock it on a crossing route, but Jair Brown is sitting, ready to drive on it as the trick safety. This forces Geno to hold the ball and leads to a sack. From the end zone, you'll see how they have both Young and Bosa lined up inside. From there, they're going to run a double stunt with Young and Hargrave crashing down and Bosa looping around. Young does a great job occupying both the center and guard, and with the tackle in a 1-on-2 situation, Hargrave bursts through for the sack. The addition of Chase Young has been a huge lift for this defense. Because of time, we're going to be skipping over a lot of the second half, but I will highlight a few plays. Seattle was able to get some life early in the third quarter when they got a pick 6 on Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan talked about how Seattle disguised and he shouldn't have put Brock in that position, so we'll discuss it. So the Seahawks are showing single high before we motion Juice across. Once we do, Adams walks down as if he's going to blitz and a safety rolls over. This is a really good sell by Seattle. That screams safety blitz with man coverage. What Shanahan means by he shouldn't have put Purdy in this situation is that there was a can call on the play. They most likely had a run play to that side called with a can to or checking the play to a pass called in the huddle. In this case, you had a clearing route with a stick from Ayuk, then a clear choice or a clearing route paired with a choice route from McCaffrey. Both very good man coverage beaters. But Seattle backed out into cover 3 zone. So when Purdy drops back, he sees Adams sitting outside of Ayuk's route and moves to the choice clear. You have to remember this play. The choice clear, the seam route isn't in the progression. That's there to clear out room for the choice route, and Seattle doesn't carry the clearing route. Ideally, I'd like to see Purdy toss this away, but Shanahan is right. That's a tough position to put any quarterback in, no matter how long they've been playing, because you're so backed up. If he doesn't get this ball out, it's a safety. If he holds it too long and his linemen get called for a hold, it's a safety. It's not a great throw by Purdy, but he's also worked to a second read without good answers because Seattle baited this play. That's a case where you're going to choose the least of any evils. Not a great play by Purdy, not a good call by Shanahan to have this on the table, but it's also a great play by Seattle. The next 2 drives had a couple bad false start penalties that really killed the drive, and with Seattle having a 14-play field goal drive, really that was what the third quarter was. But what sparked the team back was his big sack on 3rd down. Again, good coverage and good pass rush. Wilkes is going to dial up some pressure here, and the Seahawks are expecting zone and have a zone beater dialed up with a drive concept. That's a basic route paired with a drive route or shallow crossing route. It being 3rd and long against man coverage, Geno wants to go to Lockett, but Lenore again, great job, gets physical and stays in Lockett's hip where Geno is locked onto, waiting for his all-pro receiver to break open, but the physicality disrupts the play and allows the pass rush to get home. No, Lenore didn't have PI here, their feet got tangled up. This is nice design and execution on the rush that stresses the O-line. Greenlaw is on a peel rush, so he'll attack, and if the running back flares out, he'll peel off to cover. If not, he'll go occupy the running back to ensure you have one-on-one blocking assignments. We're then going to have a couple stunts here. Gregory is going to attack inside with Warner looping around, and Armstead and Hargrave will attack outside with Bosa looping around inside. Armstead does a great job hooking the center's arm to pull him, opening up the lane for Bosa. Then with the guard sliding with Hargrave, the center is now in a bind. Does he let Armstead go and pick a Bosa, or keep on Armstead and let Bosa go? He lets go of Armstead to pick up Bosa, freeing Armstead for the sack. Then after a tough drive, grinding it out on the ground, Purdy makes a heck of a play for a touchdown to Ayuk. So Kyle said this play was tailor-made for a checkdown, and he's right. Purdy just made a heck of a play. So Seattle is showing 2 high pre-snap. We're running a dagger concept, which Kittle, against middle of the field open or cover 2 or 4, will run a skinny post down the middle of the field. Against middle of the field closed or cover 3 or 1, he'll run a post to cross the face of the safety. Ayuk is running what Kyle calls a widened Dover. I usually refer to it as a widened dig or deep in route. We dress this up with some run action and a rollout. Here's what we have to understand. Where Purdy's key reads or where he's looking at for his reads will change depending on the defense the Seahawks run. Against Tampa 2, which they're showing, it'll be the Mike. Against cover 3, the Will. At the snap, the Seahawks roll into cover 3 buzz. So Kittle needs to cross the face of the safety, and the hope is for the run action to suck up the boundary side hook player, the safety, with run action. Then grab the middle safety and Will with Kittle's route to open up Ayuk. Dig zone never really bites on the run fake and has decent depth, taking away what should be a squared in route. But Purdy sees Kittle's route has grabbed the safety and Wagner, and he's got a hole, and drops a throw leading Ayuk to open space up the field. This is such high-level quarterback play. I'm tired of hearing about all the weapons. I'm tired of the excuses as to why he looks so good. This is not the result of weapons. This is the result of high-level quarterback play, plain and simple. Well, that's it for this week, Faithful. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to hit the notifications bell to be alerted to when a video goes live. I'm hoping to get a scouting video out on the Eagles this week, so until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.